back to my channel. It's Tiffany on a local community farm in the northeast. Who would have thought? So obviously today I want to share my experiences having lived in the northeast for a few months now. I relocated from London, and it's funny how you think you always live in a certain place until your circumstances change and then you find yourself somewhere completely different. But overall, I'm actually having such a positive experience. So I wanted to share sort of a few differences from between London and the northeast with you guys today. As you might have known, so I lived in Docklands, which is absolutely fabulous location in London. I had a lovely balcony overlooking the Thames. I could see Canary Wharf in the distance, the stunning skyline that always inspired me. I was quite central in the sense that I could get to anywhere relatively quickly. So in terms of that, it was accessibility, it was easy, it was a safe area. And then here I am in the northeast, not very far from Newcastle. And love brought me to the northeast. So obviously, as you know, might not know, I met a boy from the northeast who lived in London, and then somehow convinced me that it would be a great idea for us to relocate up here. And I'm like, why not? But yeah, I think London's great. London is arguably one of the best cities in the world in terms of just diversity, opportunities, kind of just what you can do, the options, entertainment. And it's such an amazing place. But I think there comes a time where you kind of feel like I was no longer maximizing London. Like I didn't care for going out to bars or clubs anymore. I just really wanted to focus on my career, build a business. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to make sense of my life. I want to kind of live intentionally, and sometimes that environment doesn't necessarily support it in the sense of I feel that I can work from anywhere. I can be anywhere. I can, my life could be amazing anywhere. And I think that's one of the reasons why I thought actually, yes, I'm sort of ready to move. So here I am, here a few months down the line, and yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. It's very different, but I think it's different in a good way. So I wanted to share some of those differences. Number one difference from London to the northeast is the people, right? So it was quite a bit of a culture shock for me actually, coming up here, and like everybody says hello. People say hello to each other, which is, it's just unheard of in London. Like in London, when you're on the train, you better stare at your shoes or you better stare at your phone, because it's just awkward to sometimes maintain eye contact, or people think, in London, when someone looks at you directly in the eye and you don't know them, sometimes you just think, oh, they're coming to, if it's a guy, you say, oh no, he's coming to ask for my number. It's such a shame, right? But that's just the reality. You think there's something wrong with them. But actually here in the northeast, it's natural to actually say hello to people whose paths cross with yours. So even this morning, I've said hello to literally everyone I walk past. And at first, it felt weird for me to say it first, but now I'm used to actually just saying morning, hello. And it's like, that's a normal thing. And also here, I feel like people go the extra mile. So in London, people can be nice, don't get me wrong, but I think sometimes we're also caught up in our sort of day-to-day life that we don't notice our surroundings. But for example, so many times up here I have a buying and selling business, so I spend a lot of time at the post office, and people will sort of hold the doors open for me, like unnecessarily go out of their way, and they don't have to do that. And even at the post office, like from day one, I got to know the owner of the post office, and we have like conversations every time I go in, and it's like you really get to like know people up here in such a personal way. And even my neighbors, like we know their first names, we stop and chat to them, and they collect parcels for me. It's like people actually go out of their way, I think, to be pleasant or to care for each other. And I think that's very positive in the sense that I think one of the sad things about being human, one of the sad things about London is that people can feel ignored or invincible. But I feel here everyone can see you and people will acknowledge you, and that's an amazing thing. The second thing, of course, is the greenery, the space. London can feel so congested. It can feel so like it's just buildings and flats everywhere. You cannot breathe, and it's just pollution, it's just cars. But here it's so much fields and space and farms and like beach, and like sometimes it blows my mind. It's, oh my God, another forest. We're always going for walks in the forest, like forest. I've walked through so many forests, and also like farms. Like I know it sounds really crazy, but in the last few months, I've seen more animals than I ever have in my entire life, I think. Like I've seen cows and sheep and horses, and in London you only see dogs and cats, but here it's like you see so much more, and it's actually quite refreshing. It's, you know, you can breathe better. You can the hair's look cleaner. It's nicer. But yeah, that's another thing that's definitely different. And thirdly, I think the quality of life in terms of like property and like more value for money, that has been shocking to me. So imagine this: I shared a flat in London, right? Like I mentioned in the Docklands, and what I was paying to share a flat in London actually was able to get me a 3-bedroom house here. Like, let's just take that for a moment. Like, let that process for a moment. A 3-bedroom house. Like, I think I'm at that stage where I've outgrown sharing, in the sense that I've enjoyed sharing with people, and obviously you meet so many amazing people that way. You have so many experiences, but I'm at that stage. I'm 30 now, so I'm at that stage where I want to kind of, you know, I want to have some roots. I want to be able to live alone and kind of just, you know, just kind of enjoy life and be free in that way, and not have to balance someone else's kind of cleanliness standard. As you know, everybody cleans differently. People have such different views on cleaning the house, or the standard of the house, or how people leave things. So yeah, it's quite like just having that space here is amazing. And as I mentioned before, you know, I have a buying and selling business. So here there's a room just for my stock. Like, I buy and sell women's clothing. So in London, I had to like just pack. I had no space for my stock, so I had to share a room with my stock. It's not fun. It's not nice at all. There were times where, you know, I'll have to admit I had to sleep on the floor or sleep in the living room, because obviously, you know, my business was my priority, so I didn't mind making myself uncomfortable. But here in the Northeast, I have a room. Like, I have a room that I've set up. It looks really lovely. I have all the stuff on hangers, and it looks really nice. And I think for me, that's just, it feels amazing to just have that space. The camera keeps moving because it's quite windy, but yeah, it's just nice to have that space. And I think you can't put a price on that, and you just feel like I don't know, like you just feel like your life is getting better, like you're actually moving forward. You know, property price in London is just ridiculous sometimes, and you feel like regardless of how much you make, it's like you're farther and farther away from the property ladder. But here it's much more reasonable, and you know, it's just, yeah, you know, you can't really put a price on that space of mind. But yeah, I think those are kind of the key things that have really stood out about my experiences of being in the Northeast. And I think, you know, I always think the way I see life is that sometimes we're afraid to sort of change things, or afraid to try something different. But obviously initially I never would have thought I would live in the Northeast. Like, I just thought, why would I live in the Northeast? I wanted to live in London. But I think there comes a time in life when you have to just open yourself to new experiences and new cultures and new kind of environments. There's one of my favorite songs by One Republic called I Lived, and I love that song because, you know, it's about when you get to the end of your life and you're reflecting. I think I was always look back and think, yes, I'm glad I moved here, come what may, because London is not going anywhere. I can always move back to London if I don't like it here. So for me, it's always better to experience something and learn from it, rather than hold back and let your fears kind of kind of limit you from seeing what could be. And yeah, so I'm glad I moved out here, and I would always, I think, come back and share my experiences with you guys, probably in a year's time. Who knows what could have happened by then. But yeah, that's all I wanted to share, and you know, show you guys some of the views here. So there's the rest of the farm animals I mentioned. Back to me. Thank you guys for joining me, and always remember that life rewards those who live intentionally. Goodbye.